Let's understand what we are going to cover in this course. Introduction. In this section, we will understand what is ASP.NET MVC, what are the advantages of ASP.NET MVC, versions of ASP.NET MVC, and what are the differences between ASP.NET MVC and ASP.NET Web Forms. Getting started. We will see how to create ASP.NET MVC project in Visual Studio 2017 and understand the folder structure of MVC project and overview of necessary NuGet packages. Controllers. Controllers define execution flow of ASP.NET MVC application. In this section, we will understand what is controller, how it controls the execution flow of MVC application, how to create it. We will understand creating and executing action methods too. Action result. We will understand different types of action results such as content result, file result, view result, redirect result, redirect to route result, JSON result, partial view result, etc. Views. Views contain the presentation logic of the application. In this section, we will understand what is view, how to write client-side presentation logic and server-side presentation logic in the views, and how the view gets invoked at runtime. Razor. We will understand what is view engine and how to work with the Razor view engine practically in different scenarios. We will learn about Razor code blocks, expressions, Razor for each loop, etc. HTTP. In this section, we will understand different members of request object and response object and also the HTTP status codes, HTTP content types, etc. Shared views. We will understand how to share one or more views among multiple controllers. Layout views. Layout views are like master pages which contain the page template. You can place header, navigation bar, sidebar, etc. in the layout view. Partial views. Partial views contain the reusable content which can be printed in various other views. We will understand how to create and invoke the partial views and also how to share the data values from views into partial views and vice versa. Conventional URL routing. Routing is important to create user-friendly and search engine-friendly URLs. ASP.NET MVC supports two types of routing, conventional URL routing and attribute-based URL routing. In conventional routing, we will define routes in route config.cs. Here, we will understand route literals, route parameters, route conflicts, and route constraints. Attribute-based URL routing. This is second type of URL routing. In most of the recent projects, most of the developers are using attribute-based URL routing. In this case, we will write URL pattern just above each action method. It is very convenient and a clear idea to create URL routing by using attribute routing. And one more thing, you can use both conventional routing and attribute-based routing at a time in the same project. Models. Models define data structure and contain business logic. We will understand how to create model and how to pass the model objects from controller to the view and render the same in the view. Model binding. In this section, we will understand various input sources, how input values will be taken into MVC controller. We will also understand custom model binding in this section. Entity Framework Database First Approach. Entity Framework is a database technology used to interact with the database. In Database First Approach, first we are going to create the database and model classes will be automatically generated. We have to update the database manually if any changes required in the table structure. We will also understand CRUD operations and stored procedures in this section. We will understand annotations to describe the features and constraints such as primary key, foreign key, and not null, etc. Entity Framework Code First Approach. In the Code First Approach, first we will create the model classes with the structure of data and the database will be automatically created by the user. We can use code first migrations to update the model changes back to database. We will also understand the CRUD operations in this section. HTML helpers. In this section, we will understand various built-in HTML elements such as text box, checkbox, radio button, drop-down list, etc. We will also see how to create custom HTML helpers to handle complex UI elements. Validations. In this section, we will see how to create both client-side and server-side validations such as required, range, regular expression, and compare validations, and also the custom validations. ASP.NET Identity. Here you will use the ASP.NET Identity technology based on Identity User, User Store, and User Manager classes in order to develop the sign up and sign in form for the application, using which the user can register and log in and manage the user accounts. Filters. We will understand several types of filters such as authorization filter, action filter, authentication filter, result filter, exception filter, etc. We will understand applying global filters and filter overrides too. Built-in filters. We will understand several predefined filters that comes with out-of-box of MVC, such as output cache, action name, non-action, child action only, etc. Security. In this section, we will learn to create security for ASP.NET MVC application that handles CSRF attacks, that is cross-site request forgery. Exception handling. We will understand several types of exception management techniques such as exception filter, handle error, HTTP errors, application underscore error, and find the best ways to use in real time. Service pattern. Service layer contains the business logic. Service layer invokes the data access layer, and controller invokes the service layer. Repository pattern. Repository layer sits between the data access layer and business logic layer. The main advantage of repository pattern is separation of data access logic from business logic. Dependency injection. In this section, we will understand what is dependency injection and why we need it, and also how to inject repository into service layer into controller. State management. We will understand how to share the data from controller to the view by using view data, view bag, and temp data. We will understand temp data keep and peek methods, and also how to persist the data among requests by using session. Ajax. In this section, we will interact with the server without refreshing the full page. We will use jQuery for working with Ajax. In this section, we will also understand ASP.NET Web API, how to handle get, post, put, delete requests by using ASP.NET Web API. And also we will learn performance optimization, areas, and many more. So I can't wait to get started. Thank you, and we will meet in the next lecture.